Imagine the heart-wrenching moment when families who've waited over 2 years finally get to embrace their loved ones, snatched away in a brutal attack. That's the emotional core of what's unfolding today as Israeli hostages are poised for release from Gaza, signaling what could be a turning point in one of the world's most protracted conflicts. But here's where it gets controversial. U.S. President Donald Trump boldly declared, "The war is over," sparking debates on whether peace is truly within reach or just a fleeting illusion. Stay tuned as we dive into the live updates and details of this historic event. For those new to this story, the Israel-Hamas conflict erupted on October 7, 2023, when Hamas militants launched a devastating attack on Israel, killing over 1,200 people and kidnapping 251 others. In response, Israel initiated military operations in Gaza, leading to widespread devastation. Now, a U.S.-brokered ceasefire is in action, and the first phase includes the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners. To put it simply for beginners, a ceasefire means both sides agree to stop fighting temporarily, creating a window for negotiations and humanitarian actions. Think of it as pressing pause on a heated argument to cool down and talk things out. In a few hours, the approximately 20 Israeli hostages believed to be alive in Gaza are expected to be set free. Alongside this, nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees in Israel will be released. This isn't just about numbers. It's a delicate balancing act designed to build trust between adversaries. President Trump is en route to Israel, where he's set to meet Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and address the Knesset, Israel's parliament. He'll also connect with hostage families, offering them a glimmer of hope. From there, Trump will travel to Egypt for a summit on Gaza's future, attended by leaders from over 20 countries, including French President Emmanuel Macron and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. And this is the part most people miss. This gathering isn't just a photo op. It's a chance to lay groundwork for long-term stability, with plans for aid, reconstruction, and perhaps even a path to lasting peace. To give this a human touch, let's look at one family's story. Omri Miron was taken from his home in Kibbutz Nahal Oz, right in front of his wife, Lishai, and their 2 young daughters, Roni and Alma, during the horrific October 7th attack. His brother-in-law, Moshe Lavi, shared with CNN how the girls keep a daily ritual, anxiously watching for their father's return. It's stories like these that remind us of the personal toll, families torn apart, children growing up without a parent. As dawn breaks in Tel Aviv, crowds have gathered in Hostages Square, a place that's become a symbol of resilience after more than 700 days of protests. They're singing psalms and watching screens, ready to witness the hostages' homecoming. But let's address the health concerns head-on, because that's crucial for understanding the full picture. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum's health team warns that the road to recovery will be long. After enduring inhumane conditions, starvation, lack of medical care, isolation, violence and abuse, these hostages need immediate medical attention, constant monitoring, and most importantly, a chance to reclaim their identities as free individuals, not just hostages. For beginners, think of it like this. Surviving captivity isn't just physical. It's about rebuilding mental and emotional well-being, similar to how someone might need therapy after a traumatic event. For the families of those who didn't survive, the return of deceased hostages for burial offers closure, allowing dignified mourning and the start of healing. Now, on to the logistics of the release. The Israeli government has outlined how this will play out today. Unlike past exchanges where Hamas put on macabre shows, parading hostages like trophies, this time there's a firm no to propaganda or sick displays. Instead, the living hostages will be handed over to the Red Cross and transported in 6 to 8 vehicles, straight to hospitals for treatment at 3 different facilities. A ceremony will honor the deceased, and an international team will retrieve any remaining bodies within a 72-hour window. Once the hostages are safely in Israel, the Palestinian detainees, 250 serving life sentences and 1,700 from Gaza, will be released. Some will be deported. Others return to the West Bank or East Jerusalem. This prisoner swap is a cornerstone of the deal, But here's where controversy bubbles up. Does releasing convicted terrorists and militants really promote security, or does it risk future attacks? It's a heated debate that divides opinions on justice versus diplomacy. World leaders are converging in Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh for the summit, co-chaired by Trump and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Attendees include UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto. British PM Keir Starmer tweeted about joining to mark this crucial step towards peace, pledging £20 million, $26 million in aid for Gaza, and UK leadership in the next phase. It's exciting to see global cooperation, but ponder this. With such diverse leaders, some allies, others critics of Israel's policies, can true consensus emerge? Or will political differences derail progress? Families are heading to Re'im, the reception point near the border, where hostages will arrive in 3 batches starting at 8 a.m. local time, 1 a.m. Eastern time. Trump's confidence shines through. He told reporters the ceasefire will hold, even proclaiming the war over. In Tel Aviv's Hostages Square, preparations are in full swing for live broadcasts of the releases. Once hostages are across, Palestinian prisoners will be bussed into Gaza. Yet the situation in Gaza remains grim, adding another layer of complexity. The death toll has risen over 300 since the ceasefire began, with hospitals reporting 323 fatalities in the last 3 days, many from rebel recovery. On a brighter note, the UN highlights real progress in aid. Israel approving shipments totaling 190,000 metric tons, with more trucks lined up at Rafah. Egypt's Al Qahira News notes dozens waiting to enter. Prime Minister Netanyahu calls this a new era for Israel, focused on healing and rebuilding. For those unfamiliar, aid here means essential supplies like food, medicine, and building materials to help Gaza recover from the devastation. Hostage families are en route to Re'im, informed that releases kick off soon. Analyst Brett McGurk, who helped with a prior deal, notes hostages might be unaware of their freedom until the last moment, being notified by captors and whisked away. He emphasizes tracking their safety every step, from Gaza to Israeli hands. No Hamas flair this round, per spokesperson Shosh Bedrosian, just a straightforward transfer. Reflecting on past chaos, like the January release where crowds caused delays, this plan aims for smoothness. Of the 48 hostages slated for release this week, 20 are presumed alive, 25 dead, 2 uncertain, plus 1 body held since 2014. Most are Israeli, with 4 foreigners, 2 Thai, 1 Tanzanian, 1 Nepali. All living hostages are male, 1 deceased is female. Since October 7, 148 have returned alive, 140 released, 8 rescued, plus some bodies. As we wrap this up, it's worth asking, is Trump's optimism justified, or is declaring the war over premature? Does the prisoner exchange truly balance the scales of justice, or does it embolden militants? And how can the international community ensure aid reaches those in need without getting caught in politics? What do you think? Share your views in the comments below. Do you see this as a step toward lasting peace, or just a brief respite? We'd love to hear your take, especially if you've got insights from similar conflicts around the world.